But I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I'm very excited speaking after people from the Octarian line, Dr. Martin, Mwanji, because they've really spoken through my presentation, and I will just then be giving a bit of a summary and emphasizing a few points here and there. When I was in medical school, I didn't think I would be in this space. I thought about myself as this clinician who would be figuring out the most complex illnesses and doing very lengthy surgeries and things like that. And indeed, it's what I love to do. So I finished medical school, I did internship, and I said, okay, the surgeries are nice, but the sound of the beeps of the monitors always just, I would say they turned me on a lot. I would get very excited and like, I think anesthesia is the place, because then I would be in charge of all these machines. I get out of internship, and the first job I get is in the pediatrics ward. And then I see these very many children whom I'm seeing a year later with cerebral palsy, they have hearing problems, and I'm saying, okay, what happened? Then I traced back and I realized that they didn't get access to a care. And that is something we call jaundice. The babies are born, they get yellowing of the skin and the eyes, and then they need to get treated with special blue light, and many of them wouldn't access that. And so then I began thinking. So when David and IFPMA reached out to me that I needed to speak about the future of digital health, aligning with SDG 3, I was a bit worried, and it appeared very broad. And I was hoping that I don't speak fast, so that then the other speakers cover the bulk of what I need to speak about. And so I thought about it and I said, okay, it's a youth summit. And everyone has this energy, has this vigor. But how is the future of digital health like in Africa? And I thought to myself, I said, yes, digital health in Africa, the future should be young, innovative and vibrant. Because more than 60% of our population in Africa is young. And it is in this room that we are going to get the next Mark Zuckerberg or whatever it is in digital health. So indeed, if you're here, you're the future of digital health. All of us here are young in different capacities. Some people are maybe a year or two older than the other. But yeah, this is where the future is. The future is with you, it is with me, and we need to think about it together. So I'll speak a little bit about myself. I've mentioned that I'm a pediatrician. I work in a busy regional referral in southwestern Uganda, and our newborn unit sees about 40 to 60 newborns at any one time, and there is one nurse or two nurses who take care of all those babies with a few doctors. So then serving that, I also need to work in the university and do research on medical devices, and also volunteer as an assistant lecturer, so I do a bit of classes as well for medical students. Next. So when I realized that most of these babies were not getting fine, and they were coming a year later with complications, I realized that the machines that are available actually work. But then where was the problem? They were expensive, they were treating one baby at a time, and many of them were prone to power cuts. But then also there is no way you would know what is happening to the baby in the machine unless you work there physically. And it is one nurse, two nurses taking care of 40 babies. And that is when I began thinking, what do I do? So normally in this whole innovation, you start with, what is the problem? You don't come with a problem and then find a solution. Next. So then through a series of participating in a hackathon, at which I did not win. We actually didn't even make top 10. When I pitched, we had like 16 people who were after our idea, and when we didn't win, the team dropped to 6 people because everybody wants to identify with winners. But then because we believed in our problem, we said, let's go ahead and continue working even after not winning. And fast forward, we've raised about $130,000 in developing this. And we just won an IFPMA award of $30,000 sometime last month. We are very excited, and we are still looking out for more partners. So we eventually thought about a solution that could treat more than one baby, that is able to monitor these babies remotely, and so that when I'm here, I can know that, okay, we have a device, the baby in chamber 1 is 2 days, has been in this machine for 3 hours maybe, and these are his vital signs. But in case there's a problem, I can then call the nurse and say, hey, please check on the baby in this particular photo note. Then we also say, well, most of the places have power cuts, and we have a power battery that lasts at least 96 hours with full capacity. And then the biggest problem we normally fall in is that a doctor of Daktari Africa talked about grants as being safe, but eventually fall into a trap of being grantpreneurs. That you get into a circle of always being funded. And when the Americans and the Europeans and the Asians give you the device, they don't give you the blueprint. When it is spoiled, you have to buy from them. And so we realized that we had a museum of devices that was spoiled, a diode, one sensor, and the cost of shipping one was very expensive. So we said, okay, we could remotely diagnose the faults in our device. If it's not on for 3 hours, you can know, and then we remotely skip the diagnostics. Because it's built in Africa for Africa, we can find what the problem is. And so because of that, we think we shall reduce treatment time, we shall treat many babies, create employment, avert complications, but also we shall mentor many other people who want to get into this space. So ours is not purely digital health. We are merging both the hardware and digital health, because indeed, without digital health, we can't move forward. And eventually, we think when we collect all this data, AI then comes in to study a few patterns. Some of the challenges, we notice that there's a big growing manufacturing trend in East Africa. It is growing, and we need to tap into that. Number 2, whereas there are few certified labs, if I needed to do my device and sell it in Europe, I need a CE mark, and I'm not sure anyone in East Africa has a facility that can give me a CE mark for what I have to do. And it's something we need to think about as Africa. The framework around medical devices is still a bit gray. I mean, Dr. Martin was talking right about it. I'm sure even other people have had similar challenges. The regulators don't seem to understand this very well, and it's still another avenue for us young people to innovate. It's young, African, innovative, and vibrant. And then we need homegrown solutions. Trust me, the problems that are in Kenya are unique to Kenya. And even the problems that are in Nairobi might be unique to Nairobi, are not similar to what is in Mandera or Busia. So you need to develop a solution that is contextualized to your setting, not copying and pasting solutions. So diving into a bit of the next slide. So that's it about our company. And Martin talked about digital health. It's a very big expanse: wearables, health analytics, visualization, telehealth, wellness, mobile health, clinical trials. And this is just the surface. So you see how wide we can go. This is just a bit of the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more. And a bit of the numbers. Africa imports over 4 billion worth of medtech every year. And Kenya is number 4, importing 2.5. So you see there are about 4 countries that import probably maybe about 30% of all the medical devices. So we are the rest of the 50 countries in Africa. And so it exports about, and these African countries, so we import all these to Africa, but we only export just about 0.3% of the global market. So what is happening? We are consuming, but we are not producing for the global world. We think Africa is very poor. Go to Southeast Asia, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Haiti, all those areas. The guys are equally poor. They are broke. They are suffering. Global health insecurities. There is a cyclone in Madagascar. They need solutions. And we think that we can't do that in Africa. Semiconductors Limited in Kenya is exporting to the world. So why can't we export medical technology? Why can't we export digital health to the world? Why can't we move from Daktari Africa to Daktari Global? Okay, and next slide. And so, just a bit of the roadmap. Several years ago, when unfortunately I don't know, I've forgotten his name, the physician.
Charles.
Yes. So very many years ago, when Charles was in medical school, I think I I don't know where I was, but must have been several years ago. He had to take a history, examine, get a differential diagnosis. He couldn't call the lab. He had to run to the lab physically and come back, pick the test on a paper, get an X-ray, look at it in the sun if he doesn't have a view box. And there had to be paper notes admin, and if you needed to send a result outside country, you needed to put it in frozen ice. They ship it to South Africa, the result is sent back. Those are what, 3 months downtime. If he needed to, all this, so then he had a whole stash of papers or medical records in his office, and when you came 3 months late, he had to comb through them, get 3 other people, including the soldier at the gate. They put all the papers on the floor and he said, "What's your name again?" And then the cockroaches and the rats have eaten some pieces of it, and he says, "I think this was an S and not a J." A couple of years down the road, we have some basic chat box. We can make decisions. I can have my blood pressure taken every day with my wearable. I can have my pulse rate measured every day and it's stored on an app somewhere. He has spoken about telehealth. I don't need to come physically every day. I need to talk to him like, I think, what you're going through is okay. Come back next week. Or you can say, please leave whatever you're doing, come down. I can read about my condition, a bit of remote diagnostics. And we are going to more sophisticated chat boxes, streamlined, personalized care. So we are now moving towards away from treating us as a whole. They say Africans are poor. They say, this solution will work for Africa. It will work for Nairobi. We now need to make a solution that works for me. That when I am sick and I have a fever, they shouldn't say, well, if you have a fever and you come from the poor areas, most likely it's a very bad bacterial infection. You have Staph aureus. So they just throw some ceftriaxone at me or Ampiclox because I come from a particular area. They should be able to say, yes, Moses, because of your genetic makeup, because of ABCD, I think what you have is this and this is yours. So it is personalized care. And that is where we are going. And for me, I feel that is where the future of digital health should be going. Personalized care, precision medicine. When you have a tumor somewhere in your brain, they would irradiate the whole brain. Right now, because of digital health and AI, we can create a model of the tumor and get its shape, and then make sure that the beam is in that shape and it goes directly exactly where you want it to be, and you're not having healthy cells dying. And that is just literally the surface of healthcare. There is a lot more we can uncover. The next. So, this more of a repetition. If you're thinking about digital health in this room, I would start with this. Be appropriate to your local context. Be appropriate to your local context. What are the problems in this room right now? What is the problem? He talked about, is the camera moving because he felt he needed to move around. That is a problem. Right now, I would be innovating on how do I get a way of swiveling the camera to follow me. That is a problem that is contiguous to this room. We were struggling with getting the projections on. That is a problem. So if you're in a health facility, if you're in the community, what is that problem? And then that should address the health need that has a big impact. Do not innovate for you and your best friend and your wife and children only. You will not make money. If you don't have money, you don't have power. You all know that, isn't it? We can make all the noise, social entrepreneurship, charity. For me to give charity, I need to make money. I need to have power to be able to give. So all that should then have a bit of a long-term entrepreneurial capacity. And we should not duplicate the existing solutions. We need to be able to work together. If I am thinking of developing an online platform and I realize he already has it, I could actually work with him to then fill the gaps that he is having challenges with. Not trying to reinvent the wheel. Okay? And there's still a lot more about this. As I conclude, the benefits of digital health are very many. There are very many. They improve access to healthcare in all different dimensions that we've listened to the whole morning today and part of the afternoon. They will reduce the cost of care, and this is not just in terms of the cost of buying medicine, no. Transport, unnecessary admissions, time, if you have to line up for 6 hours to see a pediatrician. I mean, these days parents call me and they take a video, say, my child is not breathing well, and they take a video, and I'm quickly able to look, I think that's fast breathing is normal in a newborn, don't get worried. They're able to take a picture of a skin rash, and at times you're able to make some remote diagnostics. So they've saved money of coming, waiting. Imagine with all your busy schedules, and when you have a doctor appointment, you then know that whole day you're not working. You're losing money. And I've told you money is power. So you're losing power, you're becoming powerless. And it has increased quality and reliability. AI has increased the quality and reliability of healthcare. In the past, very many years ago, when Charles was in school, and even up to now, if I got an X-ray, I needed to look at it and say, this is a cavity, I think this is TB. Would be an artifact. There's a story of someone who took an X-ray, and there was a cockroach in the film, and the people said, there's a cockroach, the man has swallowed a cockroach and put it to his chest. But the cockroach was in the X-ray machine itself, and there's that famous meme on Facebook and on social media. Right now with AI, I can take an image, and it's because of the digital X-ray, it is run against several other X-rays, and I tell you most likely, this is TB because of pattern recognition, all sorts of things. All sorts of diagnostics, the quality, the reliability is much better. And so there are a couple of enablers and barriers towards digital health, and we've talked about this all day. Being young is a very big enabler, because you're very tech savvy. Trust me, if you look at your young brother or who is in school, give them a phone and a couple of minutes they've cracked, they know where the games are, they know where everything is. It will take you a much longer time. If I gave the same to my parents, they would struggle. I have to teach them how to use and open up an email and use a smartphone. You're more vibrant, you have more energy, and you're thinking, because the problems affect you more. Infrastructure, this is most beyond a building really. What is the physical infrastructure and the virtual infrastructure available? Right now, agriculture has put us together in one room. They have brought a table. They have the table and they have brought us on board. That's part of the good infrastructure. The environment. What is the policy around digital health? What is the regulation? Is it favoring us? Is it good enough for us to spur this to the next level? And then also the innovations are already there in place that we benchmark on. I mean, if there is no, what's the word? If the chassis is not there, you can't build onto your car. Someone has done a lot of work in the past, and we are building onto that rubric already. So those innovations that have come before us are very big enablers. And the barriers are very many. But I'll talk about these two. Low financing and poor environment. All of us, when you leave school, the engineers, you have a school project that you do for you to graduate. How many of those eventually get onto the market? How many of your professors are happy to mentor you and give you time every day? How much is the government? We were discussing this idea over lunch, and they said, I have ideas, but nobody is willing to give me a safeguard for my idea. It's a very risky venture. That I said, you don't have a minimum viable product, and you want my $10,000. You get, it's very risky. And that is a very big barrier for us, the young people. We do not have the money. You straight out of school, you're struggling with rent. You don't even have money for data. And someone wants to come up with an MVP before they actually fund you. So we need to think around how do we fund this. The second thing is, I was still discussing it yesterday, that when we call for a competition now, we shall say we are awarding the best three, isn't it? What happens? We put people in a room for 2 days in a hackathon, and then they come and pitch for 3 minutes. So if I have a very good idea, but I can't speak, I stammer, it's my first time to pitch, I don't even know how to start speaking. I have stage fright. I lose out. But then you find the one Moses who is very bubbly. In a few minutes, he has convinced you an idea that doesn't exist. And you're giving him money because he's a great speaker. So what happens with number 4, number 5? They lose courage, they get angry, they give up, and those solutions die. We need to think around that. If I had money, if I was a big investor, I would invest in the ideas that don't win at Yakafuna. Because I think the best scientists actually do not have the capacity to introduce themselves in 5 minutes. Give him an hour, he will actually break it down for you. And yeah, financing, I think, yeah, we've talked about that. And then I got this when I was at the Health Tech Summit in Rwanda, the Africa CDC of ICT told us about the 10 T's of digital transformation in Africa. Connect, educate, innovate, coordinate, invest, promote, regulate, protect, trust, and know when to quit. Now, these are in no particular order. But for me, I think these form the core of digital health in Africa. If we are able to harness each of these T's and put them together, then I think we shall be unstoppable. And I would like to end by, this was the first African MedTech conference that happened in Nairobi here, Kadasoville, Africa, and I was excited to attend. And this was part of what we thought about, that we will develop MedTech solutions using our deep understanding of the context in which they are going to be used. And for me, it's always my mantra, let us build context-specific technologies. Do not build for the people whom you don't see. Start with your community. Thank you very much, and I hope I haven't made you more hungry. Thank you.